Yo, what's up, guys? Today I just wanted to talk about how George Clooney built a billion-dollar brand and how exactly you can follow the steps to do the exact same thing. So, guys, number one, he owned equity, right? He's not just working for a paycheck. He wants to own the equity in everything he does. So, he co-founded the brand Casamigos, as everybody knows. It's a tequila brand. It was he built it with his friends, right? He was looking to hang out with his friends, and then they realized that, hey, we like to drink tequila, but we can't find a tequila that works for us. We don't know a good tequila drink that works for us. We need to figure out something and build something. So he's like, well, let's build the Casamigos brand. Let's make some tequila. Same thing Dwayne Johnson did, The Rock. He made Terramana tequila, right? So he decided that he wanted to fund Casamigos Tequila, right? He then sold it for $1 billion. He sold it for $1 billion, guys, and he still owns stake inside the company. So what you guys can do for that example is you build something that can scale without you. Own the asset, don't just be the talent. So instead of just being the guy behind the brands, like, okay, we're just going to use my face. He's like, no, I want to own equity. I'm going to be the guy that's going to own this, that can scale without me, because he was able to sell it. So other people now own the tequila brand or the Casamigos brand, but he, is still getting paid from that. So guys, number two, use your fame or your skills to leverage the big deals. So he used his fame and his skills to be able to leverage everything he's doing in terms of business, right? So maybe you might say, well, I'm not as famous as George Clooney, so how am I going to be able to do that? Well, you have a skill set. Everybody has a skill set. Everybody has something they're good at. You could use your skill set to leverage and use your services. Give somebody else your services, right? You could use your skills to give somebody else services, and that's a great way on how to leverage what you know. So, he used his fame and skills to secure funding as well. When all the angel investors, they want to invest in something, the first thing they're going to want to do is invest in somebody who has an audience. If you have an audience, you have influence, right? They know this. So they know that they can make a lot of money with somebody who has audience and influence. So he's able to secure good amount of funding because he has a big audience throughout the years that he's worked. So once you gain attention, guys, use it to open doors. Don't just go viral. If you're doing content, don't just try to go viral all the time. Use it to open doors. Use it to actually do something business wise, because a lot of people, they just want to make content. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you just want to make content, then that's great. But there's a lot of people who have millions of YouTube subscribers that don't know exactly what they're doing and are just depending on just brand deals. They don't really know how to monetize their audience, so don't just use your fame just to be famous. That's pretty much what I'm saying. You want to use your fame to build attention and open business doors, right? Change the attention to currency. So guys, number three, you want to invest in real estate eventually, and also you want to invest in a lifestyle that you control. So George Clooney, guys, he owns multiple homes. He uses it as a place to recharge, work, and host deals, right? So the assets that he owns for real estate, he's using it to invite other people, to be able to host deals. He's also using it to be able to work, to record, to make movies, film, whatever. He owns the real estate. He owns the assets, right? He could rent it out. So let's say, for example, a production crew wants to come and rent out George Clooney's house so they can film, right? Well, they're going to rent it out. He's a part of the film. He's getting paid, and they're paying off his mortgage just from having that kind of an asset, which is real estate, which is what everybody should also be wanting to end up owning in the after they acquire a certain amount of money. You definitely want to invest it into an income producing asset, which is like real estate, stocks, stuff like that, especially if you want to become financially free eventually. This is a great asset class to own. So he spends it great on assets that support his goals, not just flexes, guys. So number four as well, which is one of the biggest things, is he never fully retired. he keeps creating, you know. So a lot of us, we believe in this, you know, 65 years old, we retire, we sit on a beach somewhere, you know, in a on an island drinking pina colada and kicking our feet up. Well, he doesn't believe in that because he actually loves what he does, you know. Not saying if you love what you do, that doesn't mean you can't retire, but you shouldn't have this goal of just, I'm gonna just finish everything and I'm just gonna sit there and do nothing, you know. You still want to be able to transition. You want to transition into something maybe that you're not so happy about doing, you know. Maybe that's not what you want, that's not your life passion, but you want to find what your life passion is, be able to monetize it. I think that's one of the most important things that people should do in life, is to find what they love to do and then be able to figure out how to monetize it, because then, and only then, will you actually become really, really rich, because you could do it for so long. You'll do it until you're on your deathbed. You will want to do it for so long because you really love doing that, and it brings you money, so you'll be rich. Sometimes a lot of people, they're not going to get rich because they don't like what they're doing. They just want to do it for 2 years and then quit. But the people who love what they're doing and they do it for 50, 40, 60 years, they can maintain it and they can keep the money coming in, where now that they become rich because they love what they're doing and they don't even care about the money. They like the lifestyle they built. So he never stopped, you know. He never retired. He's still creating movies. He's still doing what he loves to do, guys. Even after making hundreds of millions, you know, George Clooney still works, he still directs, he still produces, he still stays involved in his business. Number 5, you want to build with an exit strategy in mind. So you always have to remember, you know, eventually you want to be able to sell off some of your businesses. You don't have to sell off what you love to do, but what you love to do is going to create the other businesses. So whenever you're building something, always build to scale, so you don't have to be the person that's constantly involved in the daily activities of the business. You want to eventually be able to sell your business for a great profit, you know, and then you can go and invest in other things you like to do, you know, foundations, fundraising, you know, stuff like that, you know, help out kids in this country and that country with the money that you earn. You can now do that because you always had that exit strategy in mind, that big sale that you could eventually do with your business. And that's what George Clooney did. He sold Casamigos in 2017, you know, for millions of dollars. He kept staking the brand. That's what big brands like Jeff Bezos did and Steve Jobs. They all sold their businesses eventually for the big payment, you know. So guys, that's a great way on how you can also get wealthy, just like George Clooney. Apply those tips. Subscribe, like this video. I'll see you guys later. Peace.